Frame. I'm Jay Lazarus Huck.
I'm Jamie Hall.
And we are Rising Fire Productions. Our guests this week, Christian Walker and Christopher Smith. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Before we talk to them, I want to let people know a little bit about what's going on in our community this week. Tonight, at the Buccaneer Lounge at 10 p.m. for a $5 cover, you can get in to see Acid Baby Jesus, Hell Shovel, and X-Cult. That is at the Buccaneer Lounge tonight at 10 p.m. Tomorrow night, you of course have the Inner Fire acting class that we ourselves, Rising Fire, do from 6:30 to 10 p.m. downtown. And Indie Acting is featuring guests Anupam Lahiri and Ricky Jemison Monday night. So check out that as well. I've worked with Al Lahiri. He's a very good filmmaker, a very interesting gentleman. Could provide you some opportunities, as that my understanding is he's working towards a new project. So you might want to check that out. Tuesday night at the 1884 Lounge, we have Creations, Nothing Till Blood, Kubla Khan, Carry Your Ghost, and other local bands. Indie Acting is having an open house for teens from 7 p.m. till 9:30 p.m. for teens and kids, actually. And I believe that's a free event to introduce young actors or young children and teens to the world of acting in the local film community. Also Tuesday night at the Edge Coffee House at 8 p.m. is the Edgewise Poetry and Spoken Word event. So there'll be a lot of different musicians and poets down there. You might want to check that out. Thursday night we have a number of premieres. First up is Michael Williams' Cain, which will be at the Ritz Theater in West Point, Mississippi. That'll be at 7 p.m. and tickets are $7, and that of course features
Glenn Payne and Casey Dillard that was in my film Cold Blooded.
Exactly. So we wish him luck with that. And then here locally on right up the road on Cooper at the Abbey, Timid Monster will be having a dual screening for free. They'll be showing Rachel Taylor's Avarice and Dan Baker's John Gray. And I'm just going to take a side note here, and anybody that hasn't seen Dan Baker's work, you're really missing out on something. I don't know if you know his work or not, but
I do. John Gray is really good.
John Gray is a fantastic little thing, and I've seen
Tim Burton-esque kind of thing.
It's like steampunk Tim Burton. And I've seen some clips from Avarice as well. I think what I saw was actually a trailer or something like that for Avarice, and it looks fantastic. So these are our two strong filmmakers out there in the community. You might want to go check out the work and meet the filmmakers. Again, that's at the Abbey on Cooper, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Also Thursday night, the Goodnight Darlings will be performing at the Poplar Lounge at 10 p.m. And then this one might be a little closer to your heart.
Yes, it is.
This coming weekend, starting Friday night, running through Friday, Saturday, into Sunday, is the Memphis the Memphis Punk Rock Fest at the Memphis Rehearsal Complex, which is of course run by
Robert Coletta.
And that's down on 296 Monroe Ave. Tickets for one day are $15. Tickets for two, of course, are $30. And we hope to have Robert here in about 2 weeks. For those of you who don't know Robert Coletta, he has put together a hell of a facility for musicians in Memphis, and Jamie, you're actually a little closer to it. You might want to tell people a little bit about it.
Yeah, he took over MRC and has offered a lot of the local musicians a place to house their equipment and be able to practice there. He also has the lower room where they have a stage set up, and they, I think it's every once a month or every other month they throw a big bash there. It's completely free. People come in. They also have where they have artists set up to display their works, whether it be paintings or I know Juju was there last time. Juju was in the portion of Nature of the Beast trailer, and he was there selling incense that he makes, and they do body painting, all kinds of crafts, and people are there to display everything that they have. And Robert has done a lot for the music community here in town, and I respect him for what he's doing. He's basically doing the same thing that we're doing for the film community. He's doing it with the music community, and he has come to us wanting to bring all of that together as well.
And I want to reiterate that in addition to the apparently monthly, I think it is, event that he puts on. He does have additional events throughout the month that they seem to sponsor. They had a birthday party for a musician, so they had a band night just recently. And it isn't just the musicians. He really has reached out to the arts community, the painters, the incense maker, and he's offered them an opportunity to be a part of this as well. And that, like you said, that's something we've seen in making film, and you guys probably are aware of this as well, that pretty much any form of art out there is useful to film. I'll mention sculpting, and I won't allude to why at this moment, but you've worked with somebody who had the skill to be able to sculpt and make a prop for you for your recent project that we're going to be discussing today. So,
Pretty much so.
Yeah.
so you see how the different...
And I'm still disappointed because I don't get to use that said prop.
Oh, we
But-
still have it.
Okay.
But we see how the different forms of artistry can affect film and actually help our film, our production value. So what Robert Coletta is doing with the musicians and artists in this town is to basically kind of create a stronger unity, therefore a stronger community. And Robert has been a huge supporter of us, primarily Jamie, in the filming of the Nature of the Beast trailer, and has gone out of his way to offer us opportunities to connect us to different people and to try and bring the community that we're working with and the community that he's working with tighter together,
Yeah,
so that we do know more about each other and what's available to us.
the first time that I ever talked to Robert, he was like, man, I've been looking for somebody like you guys to be able to get with because I want to bring everybody together and be able to display, everything that we do, whether it's for, like we said it before, with jewelry makers. If we need jewelry makers, we don't want to go out of the city. We want to keep it here in the city. We're big on bringing everybody within our realm in this area together. And Robert's the same way. He wants to put everybody together and make one big network out of it.
So all of that said, I definitely would say look up the Memphis Rehearsal Complex, MRC. I believe they have some Facebook pages up there. Find them and support them. Get out to their events. Network, meet other artists, meet other types of artists, learn who the musicians are in your town. Bring the community tighter together, and all of us will be able to make a stronger product and maybe bring those eyes towards Memphis that haven't been able to turn here. That wraps up the news that I've got for the week, unless anybody knows of anything else that's going on specifically.
No, just on the guy you were mentioning on Robert, I know that one of the lodge alums, Nigel, his band Arvada actually has space down there. I know they do a lot of shows down there, so the guy really is helping a lot of
He really, I mean,
people.
he's got what is it, 20 rooms?
20 rooms, and now MRC, Robert was telling me that MRC's, all the rooms are now full.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
yeah, they're all
Excellent.
full. He has gone in there. I never saw the place before Robert took it over, but he has gone in there and he has done a lot of changes, is doing a lot of construction work in there. He's even got one guy, I believe, building a recording studio in there that's going to offer people that are in the complex, recording specials and so forth.
As far as the building goes, didn't you actually own it at one time or lease
No,
it?
we ran a venue out of that lower room with the stage back in like '97. Like I was right out of high school, and we ran a venue and threw like all ages shows and had some, fairly decent shows there for about a year.
Was that before or after the SMB?
I was before we had a place at 902 Cooper, and
Okay.
so I've got a history in that place too. So it's cool that it's still.
Yeah, it's still going.
exists.
He had even mentioned to us when he invited us out, wanted to show us around the place and everything, and he said he spent a lot of money getting a freight elevator working to where the musicians would not have to carry all their equipment up this huge flight of steps. Yeah,
It worked when we were there, but I'm sure it.
The place is huge.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
Huge.
It is, very much. And he's, from what they were saying, he's really cleaned it up a lot as
Yeah.
well, because, he said he was in there and, there'd be crackheads or whatever other seedy types that would be moving through the building causing this, that, and the other type of problem. And basically he and a group of his friends kind of chased them out slowly and just brought the building back into something they could control. And he has turned it around, and he was on I can't remember which of the newspapers. I don't know if it was the Flyer. I want to say it was actually the Downtown.
I think it was the entertainment section of the Commercial
Was it the
Appeal.
Entertainment? Okay.
Yeah.
He actually made a cover story on that for the work he's been doing in that building to try and turn it around. So, again, please, anybody out there, support Robert Coletta and what it he's doing. 296 Monroe Avenue, the Memphis Rehearsal Complex.
And if you look up Robert Coletta on Facebook, he does have his contact information there. So if you're interested, I do know that the place is full now.
Yeah.
So if there's ever any availabilities or anything, Robert has his contact information on his Facebook page. So if you're wanting to talk to him and see about getting space, if something comes up, there's a way to get in touch
I would
with him.
imagine with what it is he's doing that there's going to be a list starting because
Oh, yeah.
people will want to be able to take advantage of something like this because what he's offering is ridiculously discounted.
Mhm.
And it's really, really a strong thing for musicians and an opportunity for them to get the chance to really tighten up their sound and find who they are and their identity more than they can in a garage in the suburbs or a storage facility somewhere. So we really support Robert and what he's doing. All of that said, we're going to take a look now at the trailer. This is going to be the premiere of Slaughterhouse-Five. This is a brief trailer. They will be putting it online on their own website and Facebook pages and YouTube pages in a week, but they were kind enough to bring the trailer to us and give us the opportunity to have its actual premiere. So we're going to take a look at the trailer and then we'll be right back with Christian Walker and Christopher Smith to discuss the movie. Enjoy.
Last night, everything was fine.
No, everything has not been fine.
Alright, that was your first look at Slaughterhouse-Five, and we will be looking at that again once or twice through the course of the show. Right now, I want to introduce the director. Did you also write the story as well?
Yes.
Okay, the writer and director, Christian Walker, and
Producer, assistant director,
producer and assistant director.
effects, everything that he didn't want to do, pretty much.
We wore
Welcome
a
to
lot
the
of
show,
hats.
gentlemen.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We do.
First question would be the obvious. What is it? What is the story of Slaughterhouse-Five?
Well, it's a
It's a love story.
It's a love story. It's a revenge film. It's basically about a guy whose girlfriend goes to a frat party and something happens to her. And I don't want to. It's really short. I don't want to give too much of it away.
Left to the imagination.
Left to the imagination. It's a revenge film. I wanted to. I wanted to write something. Part of it was a nod to a lot of the. I wanted to make a slasher film where you're rooting for the killer.
Kind of an anti-hero thing.
So then it just makes it a revenge film, and so you know, there's nods to 80s slasher movies in there,
As well as late 70s and early 80s revenge films that were really large during that time.
Okay.
And then there's some, you know, there's a little drama in there, and
Of course,
it's fun.
it's 'cause you're in it.
You mentioned the 70s revenge film inspiration. Are
Yes.
there any specific movies or specific directors?
Well, before we started doing that, I went on a big Death Wish kick. Of course, you
The
know,
Bronson
the obvious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go through. You got to do like your Death Wishes and you know the Exterminator and things like that. A little bit of cult drive-in stuff.
I was always a big fan of the George C. Scott hardcore.
Yes, yes. And from that, really, I don't really know how Christian had like the short story pretty much already written, and we just kind of went off of that more than anything.
Okay.
You know, and like you said, it pays a lot of homage to slasher kind of things also.
And any specific directors or anything that inspired the birth of this particular film, or you in general as a filmmaker?
Not really. not specifically. I really wrote it. I wanted to write something that we could shoot in a month of weekends, which is basically what we did.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
6
I
weeks.
wanted to write something as a producer and say, okay, what can we do without having to spend any money? What can we do with the resources that we have? Instead of, launching a Kickstarter campaign, which I think are great ideas, I kind of wanted
When they
to
work.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I wanted to do an experiment. What can we do with what we have? And a lot of it was calling in favors. Craig Morris shot it and edited it.
Cannot thank Craig and Val enough
Yeah.
for everything that they did.
And Craig and his wife Val have Cinegore Pictures, which I've been in several of their short films.
I believe they were on the. It's the same couple that was on the show at.
Yeah, about
Public
3 or 4
PBS.
weeks ago. Yeah.
When I did the thing with
Ch-
Bart
Martin.
Cole.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sorry about that. I couldn't
Yes.
think of his name.
So
Yeah.
I had worked for them a couple of times, and I knew they were, liked horror movies and had twisted minds, and so I had this really short thing.
And they do good work.
They do.
They do.
And they're
Incredible
like
work.
super cool to work with, and just the nicest people in the world. So.
Excellent.
So, I said, well, hey, I was in a couple of your films. Can you help me out? And so a lot of it was calling in favors.
As we all do
I was gonna
in this
say.
in the indie film community here in Memphis, we call in a lot of favors from others.
Which is how I even got involved in the project. I mean, called in more favors.
Well, I know. I didn't know Christian as a filmmaker for a longer time. I knew you more as an actor in local films. And I know as an actor in local film, chances are you've been paid in pizza and bad, $1 Wendy's burgers or something like that for probably most of, if not all of, your career in Memphis.
Yes.
So there are bound to be a number of people out there that, deservedly owe you a nod of thanks.
or 10.
Or,
Yes.
yeah. And it's nice to see that, that someone who you've helped will be willing to turn around. And that's the community part that we keep harping on and trying to try and build on, is to let people understand, or help people understand, that not everything is going to be what you want. Not everything is going to be what he wants, or something like that. But if you make willing compromises, you support each other and just help each other get work out there, the quality of that work will rise. The kinship between the people involved will tighten, and again, the product being better, eyes from outside of this city will start to turn here. And as you know, I mean, you're on your way out of this city, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
One of the problems we have here is that getting eyes opened in this city is virtually impossible unless you've gotten somebody's eyes somewhere else to open for you. Then you are welcomed and praised here. But I don't know if it's because, overall the governing community at large is scared of something they don't understand or that's new, but we really have a stunting effect in Memphis towards the arts, I think. And I don't know if it's absolutely true or not true, but talking to other filmmakers, talking to other musicians, talking to other artists in this city, everybody kind of has the belief that this city isn't supporting them properly. So, if that is the overall belief of all artists, ourselves included, how is it not true? And what can we do about that? So it's very nice to call in those favors and see the people rise to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, those favors are still, kind of held into a certain group of people. And there's so many different artists and different people in the city that if everybody came together a little bit more, a lot more probably could be done.
And that's the point of this show.
Right.
Is,
That's how we met.
for anybody out there, exactly. A week ago I couldn't even remember your name.
Right.
Because I'm bad with names.
Right,
But now I won't forget you.
right.
And it is because I have been able to associate the person I'm speaking with a quality project I've seen a taste of. And the minute that happens, you become unforgettable to me.
Well, don't forget, I'm also a quality project of the store, and that helps.
Well, this
hours and
no.
hours and hours of free slave labor
this
in this
environment
place.
itself is conducive to that as well. And we often, we hope that in the long run, Semper Fi will, or Slaughterhouse Fi, you're going to get me on that every time.
I don't see.
Um,
You was doing that last week.
You'll end up on the shelf in there with the final copy.
Of course.
For sure.
Are y'all planning on doing any of the festivals anywhere, or just gonna kind of?
That's the plan is to
Yeah, it
is
is.
to just and I don't know which festivals we're gonna start with. A lot of them have you kind of have to premiere it there. If you've already shown it
Yeah,
somewhere else.
of course, it almost seems like if you premiere somewhere that you've put some other festival down because you didn't premiere there.
Right,
Yeah.
and
Kind of
we've-
mentality.
I've experienced that, and so have you.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that Hot Springs, Arkansas Horror Fest. It's not until this September, but Cold Blooded has been invited to it, and they know that Cold Blooded has already been premiered, so it is a safe one.
I think that's probably where this will do better at is more horror fests. It's kind of falls in this tricky zone because it's right around 20 minutes.
I was
Yeah.
just about to ask how long it is, and that's, again, like you said, that's a tricky spot because
It's too long for a shorts program, and it's too short. Often things like that get stuck in front of a feature.
I was going to say that your best hope for that in many of the festivals is that they'll put you in front of one of the better features, and you'll get picked. You'll get seen that way. But we've had some difficulty because Cold Blooded is half hour and The Bag is just a little over 20 minutes, and both of them have been refused a couple of places because ultimately they want their shorts program to have as many films as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
So they really like that under 10-minute
Under 10 minutes.
window. And then if they're going to put you in one of their feature blocks, they want you to be over 50, I think it is, in most, and then over 70 in some.
Well, for us, it would be just about impossible to cut down any more.
Yeah.
Of course, we've already cut plenty of things out of it to get us to where we're at.
Right.
And,
see,
and still be able to
one
tell
of
the
my
story.
problems with festivals, and what else do you do with a short film, really? But one of my problems with a festival is by creating such a box where we know if it's over 10 minutes, we're going to have a hard time. If we call it a short.
Right.
And if it's not basically something that can be turned feature length. It's going to have a hard time getting picked up and programmed into a festival. But as artists, I think it's our responsibility to make the product what it should be. If your film needs to be 20 minutes long, then your film needs to be 20 minutes long. But if your film needs to be 27 minutes long, your film should be 27 minutes long. And you shouldn't have to compromise the story itself and the integrity of the project in
Right.
order to be picked up by something that really ultimately, and I don't want to sound like I'm pointing fingers or anything, but the festivals end up abusing the filmmaker.
They do.
They take your money. If you're not accepted, they keep your money.
Right.
If you are accepted, they keep your money, and you don't really get much guarantee out of anything.
And a lot of times, what wins at a festival is totally political.
In many of the
I-
At a
festivals.
lot of the
Don't
festivals,
say
it's,
names.
well, yeah.
Don't say names.
I can think of certain festivals where they would just arbitrarily pick whatever was going to win before. It didn't matter what any judges said or who. Everything was sort of.
I almost think some of the festivals is it's not what the film is about. If it's a good or a bad film, it's all about who you know. And
A lot of it.
And I disagree with that so much because there's so many great filmmakers in this area, within the Memphis area, and also within the further areas like Tupelo and other places like that. Michael Williams, the one that's doing Kane, is a great filmmaker.
And he's. I've worked with him several times. Great cinematographer.
He is.
Great, nicest guy.
Yeah.
I'm actually bummed that his premiere and the Dan Baker and Rachel Taylor premieres
Everything
are
is
the
the
same
same
night,
day.
same time, because I grew up on comic books and superheroes. I actually want to see Kane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm local and I'm I'm also poor, so the free price tag on Dan Baker's is a little easier for me. But I really want to see Avarice as well, so I'm hoping that Kane will actually come up this way at some point.
And I'm sure we could. I'm sure we can always send a message
Yeah,
to
and I
Michael
mean,
or
I'd like
Glenn
to
or
get him on the
somebody.
show now that it's
Yeah.
out as well.
I'm sure it will. I mean, I know one of his films played at Indie Memphis, not this past year, but
the
year
last
before,
year,
Lucos.
Yeah, Lucos, because they showed the trailer to Lucos at TJ's Cowpen
That's
Festival.
Mhm.
Cowpen Film Festival.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a break here real quick. Next week we're supposed to have Muck Sticky on the show, so we're going to take a look at one of his videos in this little break. And we're going to take another look at the Slaughterhouse 5 trailer. I got it right that time.
Yes.
And we'll be back right after all this.
Muck sticky break.
Muck sticky break?
What is
I don't like this
on
crowd
right now?
I have no idea what we're watching.
I don't even know what this is, but it's hilarious.
Anybody could be bad actors.
Don't like this crowd you're hanging
They
out.
just put anybody on TV these days.
I know. It's like somebody's.
Don't let this conversation be about you. Rising Fire, insurance against bad acting. Be sure you know what you're doing, the choices you're making, before you step on the set.
I wanna hear a groove that moves my feet, so turn the music on. Let's turn it up all the way up and play it all night long. I wanna hear a song that moves my soul and
was fine.
No, everything has not been fine.
I love the music that you chose for it.
Yes.
We're back.
We're back.
All
We're
right.
back.
Sorry.
That was the
Wait,
Slaughterhouse
you got
Five. You've caught my partner Jamie enjoying it at the moment. All right. Well, we talked about the story a little bit, and it's 20 minutes short. What was the experience like?
Woodsy and I worked on a feature-length film back in 2006 that will never see the light of day.
Ever. It's
I
like a
understand.
black cloud that hangs over our head.
I understand.
I've got one on a hard drive.
It's a feature-length zombie movie.
We couldn't thank enough people in the city for everything that they did during that. Unfortunately, all the video decided to go out of the city and us not be able to have it.
So anyways, this is sort of like the first time we've tried to do something after that to escape that black cloud.
Second time we've tried to do
Oh,
something.
yeah.
We've got another one, of course, the promo for the Explorers Club, which is
Right.
I remember
which
that.
we
We
played
talked-
when on a previous incarnation of
Yes.
the show.
Yeah. But that being said, the working on Slaughterhouse was, man, for the most part, like everything went so well, and there was not that normal everything goes wrong like you expect, you know.
we only had the one hiccup, and that was we had a weekend where Christian managed to book a house for a very large scene in the movie, and unfortunately Craig and Val were not able to be with us during that.
Right, but then we got Ryan Parker to shoot
Ooh, nice.
those scenes.
That's calling in favors again.
Actually, I
I
helped
often wish Ryan Parker owed me favors.
well, I helped remodel Ryan's kitchen, and so he
Nice.
still owes me about 5 days of DP work. So
Anytime you want to give away some of those days, Ryan Parker's one.
Those are ones to hold on to.
Yeah.
He's someone I have immense respect. I think he's one of the finest cinematographers in the city.
We were
Yeah.
actually having that conversation the other night about
Yeah.
who you were.
yeah, he's great. Man, he's super fun to work with, and
I can well imagine that.
That is true.
As long as you keep him fed and.
Bananas and orange juice.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
But yeah, that
Keep
a
that
lot
in
of
mind.
a lot of the things that I thought that I was really stressed out about, that I thought were going to be so hard to pull off, really fell into place. For instance, the party scene, it's a frat party, and basically I wanted it shot where we threw a party. We bought kegs. We told everybody to dress like frat guys and prostitutes, and
I suppose the easiest way to get extras to show up is actually have the keg.
is actually
Oh,
have a
wow. I
keg.
never remember
Yes.
that one.
But I wanted to do that and just kind of light everything and then go, and that way, you know, because it's so hard to get extras to show up, and
Yes.
and it's so hard to get them to stick around. If you get them to show, you know, people aren't used to the whole like, all right, hurry up and wait.
Well, we've always talked about that. I mean, one of the first films that we worked on, there wasn't a lot of pre-production done for the film, so we would get actors and actresses on set, and we'd go to look for them, and they would be in their cars asleep because it would take so long. And extras don't understand that, you know, things don't go as you want them to all the time, so it takes a little bit longer to.
And I mean, you can do as much as you can in pre-production to plan for that and be prepared for all of that. But anyone that's ever gotten on a set knows never does it all just go right.
Right. So I was you know, I was like, man, how are we gonna pull off this party scene? And you know, one of our actors was like, hey, I got these friends, a bunch of U of M theater kids that live in this big house, and they were the first place I called, and they were like, sure, you can throw a party in our house and bring some kegs. We don't care. So,
Throw us a few bucks towards our rent this month.
yeah.
That's almost a given, right?
Throw a
there.
big party. We got people that'll show up. And, you know, from there we just pretty much talked to everybody we knew also and just said
Well
we're throwing
done.
a big party.
So with working with like kids like that, in a film where you're trying to have total control over everything. How was that? Did it go well? Did you wind up trying to pull out some of your hair because a lot of people wasn't in the same places that you wanted to be?
Let go of the control. That's the first thing.
Man,
Let go of the control.
Let go of the control.
That and your ego.
There were
Yeah.
some
Both kind
there
of
were-
need to.
They have no place in film. Either one of
Yeah.
them, really.
There were some great moments we got on camera because of that. You know, I mean, there's one moment where this girl who looks just like a perfect like sorority chick, and we're filming the scene, and she just kind of like walks in the front door, like has no idea what's going on, and looked totally natural and totally perfect, and it just worked to our advantage, like not planning it out, not controlling everything.
That whole night went down as probably, at least in my case, would have been the second greatest time I've ever had shooting. Of course, the first would have been the zombie film on the day that we did the truck scene of tying up the girls and all of that good stuff.
We had
which was just a great day.
We had Corey Dials hogtied in the back of a pickup truck,
and Alice White duct taped
with machine guns.
No, see, I've worked with Corey, of course, on Cigarette Girl. She's a lot of fun to work with.
It was just a fun day in general. Mike McCarthy had shown up that day just to do some still shots and to make them, I guess, a little more comfortable because not a lot of people knew us at the time. And I guess really from that whole experience of what did we put into that, 5 years, roughly?
Yeah, we shot for 2 years. We edited for 2, and
a year of trying to make it all work out. We learned a lot during that time.
And with your first, with films like that, you do learn a lot.
You learn a lot.
You learn. People ask me all the time that know that me and Lazarus are partners and we do all of this. Did you go to school for this? And I'm like, yeah, I went to school for this, and that was a big waste of money. Because you don't learn anything until you actually start trying to do it, or you walk onto somebody else's set to help them out.
I want to interject that there is a certain benefit, because I did not go to school. I'm technically inept. I don't know a lot of the terminology. I can turn a camera on, I can point it, and I'll know if it's in focus or not. And I can frame a good shot. But terminology and the actual technical knowledge and experience is something I don't have. So it's just, I've learned as I've gone. Now, is one way better than the other? I don't know. In the end, I think it depends on the individual.
Has a lot to do with drive on that.
Yeah.
What you want to accomplish from it.
It's not a lazy business.
No, not at all. If making movies was easy, everyone would do it. It's that simple.
And for everybody out there that is making a movie, and there's so many people that own a camera now. There's not a lot of them out there that are watchable.
Yeah.
More and more every year.
And that I think is there's a number of different ways to look at that. With that much crap out there, people give up. They're just like, independent film is that. At the same time, there's a famous quote, and I can't remember the identity of the person, but I heard Craig Brewer quoted on at the Indie Origins when he played it at Indie Memphis. There needs to be a whole crop of shit films, because it is out of that those true flowers can grow and shine through. So I like that more and more people are able to make film. If it wasn't for the technology available to us today, there's no way I'd ever make a movie. I don't have a dime. You don't have a dime. I mean, we've talked about how you've lived for years off and on in order to try and make something happen. Thank God for the technology to allow us to have that expression. At the same time, it gets monotonous, and Memphis especially seems to have a reputation where we're not looked at as serious filmmakers, because there aren't a lot of quality productions rising to the top. Now, there are more in the last year to 2 years than there have been, but these are coming from filmmakers that don't know enough about the industry they're working in to have even taken advantage of that shelf in that room being a free location for them to put their movie and see it generate interest, generate word of mouth, and get them the opportunity to build a fan base.
Just thinking about that, just thinking about like that shelf in there, I think anyone locally that wants to do anything with film, if they don't come inside this building and use everything around them at their disposal that Matt's provided and Brian has provided for everyone, then you're wasting your time.
I agree with you.
There's so much film out there that you can learn from.
The biggest reason we came to Lodge with this show was that right there, is that it occurred to me, as we were talking about whether we wanted to resurrect, which was previously called From the Fire, with a different group of people. We were discussing whether or not we wanted to resurrect that and turn it into something, because we saw it as a potential for artists like you, like us, to actually have a venue somehow. It came down to where would we do it, and we were talking about, you know, doing it at the house that I had recently moved into because it's sizable. And then all of a sudden it just kind of occurred to me, this is what Lodge is here for.
It is.
It is here for us, the filmmakers in this community, not only to put our films on that shelf, but to come in here and educate ourselves. And I don't think that we've done a show yet where we haven't taken that little side note, the little tangent we're on right now, and discussed how you can come in here and you can break it down by director. You can break it down by, you know, foreign and domestic. You can come in here and study the work of a given director, a given actor. If you have the slightest question about almost any production in this building, somehow or another, Matt Martin's...
Someone standing around that desk knows something about what you want to know.
Yeah, and it's it's almost always that gentleman right there who's just got this encyclopedic mind of film.
We were talking about film schools a while ago. I mean, there's the professor right there. I mean, we've said this time and time again that we come here as directors and filmmakers and ask Matt about certain genres of films or certain directors and everything like that. This is a classroom. This is a library.
Well,
of every genre.
Whether it's like you coming in here to do character studies to try and figure out Ravana for Nature of the Beast, Kent coming up in here and looking for specific types of storylines and situations as he's developing a storyline for a potential script as well. I come in here. Matt is one of the #1 people on my list of I will show him my production before I let anybody see it. He's somebody I come to
that's
for
a great
opinion.
point, and that's both what we do also.
And Matt actually has a writing credit on this film because talking.
He came up.
I just tiny things, nothing.
Hey, he had some incredible ideas to contribute to everything.
I mean, since he's seen everything, you know, I would bounce anything off of him, and he could say whether something has been done before or not, and you know what I should watch that is in a similar vein and things like that.
I also like that he'll be honest. Jamie and I came in here 8 months ago or so, and we brought in Cold Blooded and The Bag.
I was here for that.
The two that were
night.
good.
That was the first night I actually hung out with you two guys.
And we asked him to watch them and give us an opinion. And he watched them, and he gave a very honest critique to Jamie about Cold Blooded. There were some editing things he didn't understand or he questioned, and there was 1 or 2 other little things he brought up.
The first thing that he asked me after, what would you do differently?
Which is a key question.
Yeah.
And then he watched The Bag, and you know, to me, when I did The Bag, I looked at it as a very stylized piece and an opportunity to prove I could do something in a different vein with a different voice, actually written by someone else. And in the end, that's how I looked at it. And Matt, you know, he watched it and he analyzed it and he said, no, dude, you got to look at this. You got to look at the editing. This is probably the most professional editing work I've seen in any of your films. And he helps me to see the strong points or the weak points in each production, which helps me grow as a filmmaker for my next production. And, you know, Matt, I can't thank you enough for that.
My pleasure.
Most of us can't. Most of us can't. Just like anybody that comes in, he offers so much to people. Even to point out, like, I mean, he does Lodge Roulette for people. I don't know if you've discussed that before.
No,
but like
not
you're
specifically.
You're talking about Matt. Where are we at now? In the 32,000s on the So from like 20,000 to 32,000 on a DVD selection, he'll allow people to come in and just off the top of your head shoot out a number, any number that you pick, but you have to watch that film, and he allows you to get it for free.
That's the
With my luck,
That's
I'll get
the
the
system.
Serbian film.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched it twice.
I got DP Mamacitas.
There is a reason it's called roulette.
And I
So-
had to watch it.
But it does educate you as a filmmaker.
And
And one of the things I remember very specifically, Craig Brewer said to me early on when I decided I actually wanted to do this crazy crap, was you have to watch bad movies.
Of course.
You have to know what they are. You have to see those faults and those flaws. And on, on the flip side, of course, you have to watch good movies as well. But I think as a filmmaker, it's our responsibility to, as often as possible, challenge ourselves in what we watch.
I've been doing that recently here, and that's, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but in World Cinema, there's a little small white piece of paper that's honoring Pat, who worked here for a long time and is now in Nashville running cinema there. What cinema does Pat run, Matt?
Belcourt in Nashville.
The Belcourt in Nashville, and he has an honorary section in there, and after helping Matt out here and stuff, I was like, well, why is this here? And he goes, he watched every movie in that section. I was like, well, that can't be that hard, man. I mean, I could watch a section. I was like, what's the largest section in here? And, of course, it's American Drama,
Right.
which started in January of last year. And I began watching title for title from A to Z, every movie in the American Drama section. Originally, I thought I could be done within a year. I got bad news for anybody that walks in here and just looks at movies turned towards you that are the more popular titles. There's a lot in the center that you're never going to notice. And I think I ended up into the H's within 1 year. And, of course, I told Matt, I was like, well, I didn't make it in a year. And he's like, dude, I mean, you made it into the H's in 1 year, and that's a lot.
That's a significant.
You
That's
also
all.
owe $20 on that.
Yeah, I still owe him $20 on that. So it's double or nothing for the second year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's where we go with that.
As a little side note, we mentioned The Bag and we mentioned Cold Blooded. We want to mention again that we're going to be holding a Cold Blooded premiere event in Tupelo, April 11th, 7 p.m., and we'll be screening Cold Blooded with The Bag down there. And you want to tell us a little bit about that? Or?
All I can say is that Bateman Underwood, a.k.a. Todd Bateman Underwood, has...
Really nice guy.
Yeah,
Fantastic
person. He is paying for all of this. He is doing a red carpet premiere for Cold Blooded, and I can't be thankful enough to him as the person who wrote and directed the film that somebody would see fit to do something like that. I mean,
he's really going above.
He's going. He's renting a digital billboard. He's paying for all the posters, and if you guys don't know it out there, but 27 by 40 movie posters are not fucking cheap at all.
No, they
Nothing
are not.
in movies
Yeah.
is cheap.
He has gone above and beyond. I'm proud. I even offered you that role long time ago. We talked about it on Facebook very shortly.
Okay.
But Todd has been a phenomenal person, and I'm pleased to say that I have worked with him. And but it's going to be a red carpet premiere in Tupelo, April 11th, which is a Thursday night, 7 p.m. Tickets cost is $5, and come out and have some fun with us. It's going to be a great time to watch a couple of good movies.
Excellent. And we're going to take a brief look at the Bag trailer as we do another break, and we'll be back with you in just a few moments.
We should go out on a date sometime.
Hey, Christine, want to ride?
Bye, Dad.
don't want to use your tongue? Let's remove it. That's it! Your tongue's mine! Wakey, wakey, Michelle. That's right, Gary. Your buddy's here with you, too. I get to prove my point to you both. Ever seen someone's eyes when they're wide from fear, from pain? You're evil. What do you know about evil?
Alright, that was the Bag trailer and the Cold-Blooded trailer, and of course the Leela music video in between there. And the Bag and Cold-Blooded event, as stated before, will be in Tupelo at the Tupelo Commons.
It's the Malco 10.
The Malco 10 on Tupelo Commons. April 11th, 7 p.m. So come on out and support Jamie and the work he's done, and Rising Fire in general, and have a good night of film. Getting back to Slaughterhouse-Five. We mentioned that there was a particular prop made for the film, and I know you worked with Dwayne Craig on that.
Yes.
Very talented gentleman, a resource, very, very useful resource in this city. Hell, I just hit him up online the other day, just asked a couple questions, and he led me down a path that should have been obvious to me, but I just
He just
didn't
puts it
think
out there
through,
so
and
easy.
He kind of explained why this and that, and it was like 2 sentences, and I just went, oh, well, I'm stupid.
And of course has a full-time job like most of us.
Well,
that,
again, you know,
that just does this for the love of film.
Exactly, but in addition to the incredibly talented and just fantastic person to be around that Dwayne is, who else did you have involved? Who stars in this movie with you? And
You got to go through the casting process that we went through,
Yeah,
just
I'd
for
like to
like
hear a
people to
little
know
bit about
about that too, and how hard that can end up being.
Yeah, man, we saw a lot of we auditioned a lot of people, and I was about ready to give up, because we had shot another. We had tried to shoot a second scene from this feature that we want to make called Explorers Club, and it didn't quite turn out exactly like I wanted it to. So I didn't want to cast anyone who wasn't perfect for the part. I would rather not do it than cast somebody that I was like, well, they'll do. So I was about ready. I didn't have, of course I was playing the lead, but I didn't have my lead female, and I didn't have the lead frat guy until the very last 2 people that we auditioned were Victoria Sky Cleveland and Nathan Ross Murphy.
Can't say enough great things about either one of the 2 of them. I mean, incredible people, both of them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I recognize either of them.
Well, you know who Victoria is. She's got the beautiful blue eyes.
What was her last name?
Cleveland.
Tori Cleveland.
She had called me about...
Short.
No, she's tall.
No, she's tall. She had called me about the Beth role, and I sent you a photo and everything.
Okay. I'm horrible with names. Like I said, until I've actually associate.
She hasn't lived in Memphis even a year, and so she's really trying to, get into the film scene here.
Well, then I doubly apologize for being just completely clueless, because it's probably someone I'll want to work with.
You do, definitely.
Yes.
She was, and so they were the last, the last day I was like, all right, I'm going to see these last couple of people, and then if this isn't it, then...
I think we'd come to the decision at that time that if these last 2 people were not who we were looking for, we're just going to put the project off for a month or so.
Well, casting,
and shoot again.
Casting is far more important than people give it credit for. It's not just put somebody in the role. You have to have the right someone in that role. Jamie can attest to this, doing the Nature of the Beast trailer. Just going through that, I can think of maybe 5 or 6 different girls that he has spoken to.
It's more than that.
Just in person, and I mean in person with my presence. And then in addition to that, all these people he had spoken to on his own as well as online. And none of them really were the right person. And, you know, we were very fortunate that Rachel is doing exactly what we need for the sake of the trailer. But the job of casting can make or break your film.
Yeah, and you know, another thing that I've learned is that there's a lot of people who are very good on their short sell, but once you get fully involved in a project with them, then they show their true colors, and they, you know, if they're flaky, if they have mental problems, whatever, you know. So, you know, we were really lucky that, you know, Tori was the lead, and she was just like so cool, and you know, always.
I'd just say one of the easiest people that we've ever.
I've had a
had to work
conversation with her. I've talked to her a couple of times, and she seems like she's a very genuine person. I've never worked with her. Offered her some, you know, to audition for a role in my new one, but she seems like a very genuine person.
Even beyond that, like I believe really we were kind of one of the first people that she became friends with around the city.
Yeah, the first. I mean, I think this is her first film. She had training at a school in New York, but this is her first film. So
yeah,
excellent.
She did a great job. And then Nathan Murphy plays the villain, and man, he did a great job. He's
incredible.
He's a local guy. He's about to make his own feature that he's written and is going to direct, and hopefully that'll be filming in town sometime this year. But he's a local actor with Lisa Lax, who's you know, great, does a great job. And
Now, are you starring in this as well?
yes.
How did it feel? I mean, I know when you're an actor, you're an actor. I've done the acting role. Personally, to me, I find acting to be the easier hat to wear than the director's hat. But when you have to wear both of those, there's a lot of demands of attention being split, and you end up having to rely a lot on.
That's where I come in.
How did that go? Was that an easy thing for you to give up that control? Did it help that you had someone you could trust like that already?
Yeah, because I mean, him and I have known each other over 20 years, and we know each other well enough to know that we're on the same page on a lot of things. And so,
yeah, anytime we had a question between each other on what do we want to do here, or whatever, or what we want to do there, anytime we talked about it, I mean, it basically just come down to it's the exact same thing that I was thinking or whatever. And of course, when he's acting and I'm watching, I have no problem telling him what I think after this many years of knowing each other.
That kind of honesty is necessary.
It is. And, you know, of course, at that point, and as long as we've known each other, really, like, this is kind of a secondary thing, and our friendship's been the primary thing into any project that we've ever done.
Well, we've often said when you get involved in a project, whether it's a short film, a feature, any production, the group of people that you put together has to function as a family. And it can't be the dysfunctional family. It has to be, you know, everybody, like we said earlier, you've got to set that control. You've got to set aside that ego. And you've got to work together, and you all have to have that common goal that you want the product in the end.
We learned that off of our first film heavily on don't involve too many people with creative control into a project ever, no matter what.
We had 4 alpha males that were writer, director, producer, actors.
Right.
And we had all grown up together, so you know, you can imagine.
That can kind
it was a conflict. All of a sudden, you find like people pairing together and trying to play off the other ones, and
that becomes that cluster.
It becomes it's too much creativity bundled into one package to be productive. Is what I like to put it as, and that's being kind.
And it makes sense because all of you are going to constantly be putting in something as opposed to moving forward on what you have.
Correct.
And it's good that you can break that down. And having done, I try not to direct and act simultaneously. I've done it for little things, but on the larger side, it's not really a goal I have. I'm not Clint Eastwood. It's not that I don't want to act in some of the stuff that I write. It's just that, you know, just on one small project, I learned how easy it is when you're worried about acting to miss that shot. Or when you're worried about that shot, you miss that moment in acting where you could have had that real oomph in the scene.
For me, it's not that hard because I'm not an actor. I never want to be in front of a camera ever. However, of course, in our first film, I ended up in front of the camera a lot.
You're in front of a camera now.
Not by choice, but you know, and during that time, like we said earlier, it's so hard to get extras to show up.
Yes.
Many a times I had on a wig, clothes that didn't fit, everything else they could throw on me to make me look like someone else.
That's the smart filmmaking, and I was going to make a comment earlier before we tangented off, but you were talking about how you went to the college and you found some theater kids that had a place. That's really understanding your community.
It is.
That's using your community very, very cleverly to achieve the goals you have. And it's good to understand that, and that is what I've kind of termed grassroots incentive. Tennessee doesn't have film incentives. Not that are worth a crap, especially for our level. Now, if we're doing a $200,000 or $200,000 production, maybe we'll see some small amount of incentive that, you know, whatever. But it isn't significant, and it really ultimately isn't worth it to us.
And how many filmmakers locally have 200 grand backing them?
And at our level, there's nothing they can do for us. And in fact, often there's nothing the Film Commission can really do for us because they can only help us if we are funded.
Right.
So what are we supposed to do? How do we gain incentives? How do we get things done?
You work and you make it happen.
It's like you said, it's knowing your community. It's knowing, it's who do I call in and call in that favor. Mm-hmm. What we've done a number of times is gone to a place and said, hey, can we do this? And in return, we will do this for you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just to try and establish some sort of relationship. Robert Coletta has come to us with a number of things and opportunities that, you know, we're still trying to figure out exactly how and what benefit they'll make to us and how we can, you know, make use of that and possibly even find a way to extend that. One such way, without giving away too much right now, is we can't afford locations. We can't afford to rent a place so we can build a set. Robert Coletta has come to us with a location with enough room that if you wanted to build the interior of a small apartment so that you could destroy it, you know, in a big scene, he has a facility that is large enough to do that.
More than that,
it's not the MRC building. This is something else.
More than that in this city, and one thing we've learned over many a times is shooting outdoors is one of the hardest things audio-wise to deal with in this city.
Shooting indoors in this city is still one of the hardest things to do.
For sound quality, especially.
We've often comment on that as well because, you know, in any city you have noise. You have traffic, you have people, you have noise.
Right.
But in Memphis,
we're under the flight path.
You've got FedEx planes,
right over the top
got
of you.
The semis, you've got the trolleys, you've got the river boats and the barges.
Yes.
And if you want to shoot in a bar, you've got 10 coolers going
and no one can unplug anything.
100 chuckleheads.
If you're in South Haven, you get geese.
Yeah.
We had, what, 2 hours of
2
geese
hours
one
of
night?
nothing but geese.
Oh my God. So you guys actually had to cut every time you had a geese
we
sound
had to
come
go
across.
in and film interiors because the geese were too loud outside. For a 2-hour window, we could not get outdoor
Geese and
sound.
FedEx planes at the
I think
same
actually
time.
for us, just on the quality-wise, with the one shot that we had that was going to be outdoors, which had Christian and Casey, I don't recall her last name.
Oh, Casey Bizzle.
Casey Bizzle, who was incredible in the film. Unfortunately, during that time, I guess it was FedEx's main time.
In the morning, their flight pattern.
So it was, I mean, our sound quality, of course, I guess we could ADR it, but then, of course, you're talking about working on it
Luckily,
longer.
on the last bit of Cold Blooded, we had Arnold Edwards on set as one of our grips, PAs, whatever, and he knows the FedEx flight plan because he works at FedEx. So we were.
Yeah, he was actually able to tell us what window of time we were going to be okay with. He's like, hey, if you just cut now and come back now, you'll be good.
But
So
you're absolutely correct. This is one of the worst cities
Which
in the world.
even Dwayne, which we talked about earlier, who did our props and things like that, he works for FedEx, I believe, still. So
this city is one of horrible
It
about
it is right.
planes, trains, and automobiles.
Whether that's
But a lot of things this city is great for, and one of them is that, man, everybody just wants something to do. Everybody is just itching
Yes.
for something to do.
Another thing I like about this city is if you're really smart and you move through this city with your eyes wide open, you can really discover that you can film anywhere
Yes.
in Memphis. You can find enough landscape to make it look like almost anywhere else in this country.
Yeah.
And
Can.
several other places, and you can find places where you can go and make it look era.
Yeah.
Whether that's Civil War,
Yeah, I
or
mean,
you want to do steampunk.
From desert to jungle, it's good.
You know,
well, even like I said, even steampunk or,
Yes.
or something
Right.
in the future
Very
where there
much
are
in
places.
the industrial areas around town.
Exactly.
Willie Bearden made One Came Home that took
Beautiful
place
film.
in the 40s with Corey Parker, and
Yes.
you know, it you know, pulled it off, believable.
Shot by Ryan Parker.
Yeah, shot by Ryan Parker, and then Ryan Parker and Bart Shannon made Woke Up Ugly, which takes place in the 50s, and it was really cool. They used they shot on the trolley, and you know, showed somebody commuting on the trolley, and had people in, you know, 50s stuff. So, you know, they were able to pull off that
Nice.
period.
So,
kinda
like I
thing.
said, if you're clever and you really open your eyes, you can find what you need in this city to make almost any film you can write.
I think if you're really wanting to put forward an artistic project, you can make it work anywhere. It's how much
Agreed.
drive you have.
Agreed. But I think of McCarthy's Cigarette Girl, which we mentioned earlier with Corey Dials, of course. The look of that film, it doesn't look like Memphis. It
Yeah.
really doesn't. But at the same time, you know, being here, you know almost every frame of that film when you watch it.
And you know, Memphis is, man, for what he did, Memphis can be a great place to shoot sort of a post-apocalyptic
Oh, God, yes.
place. Which, by the way, I hear rumors there's a post-apocalyptic film coming later this summer, filming here. Probably $500,000 budget.
Really? Is this
It's just rumors.
a local
whispers.
production, or
No, it's coming from somewhere else.
is it a Hollywood thing, or just another independent from somewhere?
I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I would think it would be independent. For
Interesting.
Don't spread rumors.
500 grand.
As bad as they almost always are, I love post-apocalyptic themes
Right.
and ideas.
There's actually there's two features that I know about shooting here this summer. Well, maybe even three if Nathan Murphy gets his off the ground. So there's some things happening.
Educate us.
Oh, I don't want to.
Spoiler alert.
Oh,
Kind of
okay.
deal.
These are things
It's
that are not-
word of mouth.
It's all just rumors and whatever. But
Okay.
You know.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and take another little break here and take a look at a couple of things that are happening in the city. A previous guest of ours, Sam Baer, has his film, I Filmed Your Death, which will be, hopefully we'll be seeing a updated trailer.
Man,
And
he got some interesting people to be in his
We
film.
we had ran across Sam the other day just out of the blue, and I had to tell him I have to give props where props are due, and I told him, I said, you have inspired me.
Man, he's got Lloyd Kaufman in his movie. He's got Michael Horse
Yes.
from Twin Peaks in his
He's
movie.
got one of the guys
Peter
from
Tork.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Hey, all right.
But we saw him the other day, and I told him, I said, you have truly inspired me, because with this film that I'm doing now, I've actually talked to some of the people and have gotten messages back and forth from like C. Thomas Howell for this film and some other people. So he's inspired me.
He really made an impact on us, and I think several of our viewers as well, with what he's put into his film. And he has, you know, he's one of those people that, you know, I met him on Cigarette Girl. He was 17 years old, thought maybe he'd want to make some movies. I think he'd had some experience at that point with some friends of his. And now I see him out there as one of Memphis's leading filmmakers already.
Mhm.
And I'm very, very proud to call him an associate and a friend, and to see what he's done. But we're going to go ahead and take a break, check out a couple trailers, and we'll be right back with you.
Dig! I said dig!
The picturesque hamlet of Bolton, Connecticut. Your typical New England town. However, under its beauty is a tragic history. Meet young filmmaker Pierce Lindman, born and raised. Perhaps you know Pierce's grandfather, the former trooper of the town, and a beloved public figure. Pierce's friends have just helped him make a movie, and it premieres tonight. Not everyone is happy about it. This could be the best night of Pierce's life, had he only known. I filmed your death. A portrait of today's youth. Always looking for an escape. Always looking for a distraction. Always, I filmed your death! Outside the public access channel, a popular television show personality makes a disturbing discovery when he finds that I filmed your death. Two intoxicated youths take it to the next level. But when the lights go off, I filmed your death. All of these deaths plus yours, I filmed your death. Filmed your death. Not everyone wants to be in a movie.
I was raised deep in the backwoods, hunting fish, yeah, was my childhood. Trees grow tall and the water flow. Things go on here, nobody knows, yeah. I was made a self-made man. My great-granddaddy, where it all began. Way out here, say we're the kings. Let me tell you about a few things. My bow, my shotgun, my 45, my tractor, my camel, and my four-wheel drive, my dirt, my land, my tin roof house, my God and my family and my pride in the South. Those that still don't understand. I'm a country man. Crazy, others say we're bold. There's a lot more story than left untold. Blood, sweat, and scar, my family's name.
Oh, yes, sir. Good feeling so Phillips. Everybody want to buy got Kennedy Baptist Hospital, Ward 24E. Just flat fix and bring you the hottest thing in the country. Real hot and blue. Coming to you through WHBQ in Memphis, Tennessee. And it's Friday night tomorrow.
We're here at the Hotel Chiska in downtown Memphis. It's a 100-year-old building that's being renovated and turned into apartments. We're actually in the mezzanine level, which used to be WHBQ radio station offices. On July 5th, 1954, Sam Phillips records Elvis Presley doing That's All Right with Scotty and Bill. 3 days later, he's given the acetate recording to Dewey Phillips, who has a show here at WHBQ called Red Hot and Blue. Let's go down the hallway and find it. On July 8th, Dewey Phillips tells Elvis and tells Sam he's going to play this song, right? Elvis gets so nervous that he goes to a movie theater. He can't handle what might happen, the rejection that might follow. But the song is so popular that Dewey plays it 14 times out of his room down here. The Presleys are urged to go get Elvis at the movie theater and bring him to Red Hot and Blue because Dewey wants to interview him. And all that happened in this room right here. By the time Elvis gets to this room, he's a nervous wreck. He tells Dewey, "I ain't never been interviewed before, Mr. Phillips." And Dewey Phillips says, "It's all right, Elvis. What's going to happen is I'm going to ask you a few questions, like where you go to high school and how old you are." Elvis answers all these questions. But what Dewey didn't tell him is that the microphone was on the whole time, and it happened in this room. The conversation that Dewey and Elvis have in this exact room in 1954, July 8th, is the first rock and roll conversation that's broadcast on the air ever. Right now, we need your help to save this room. All these panels, everything is original to 1954. We need to excavate the room, basically, just as it is, exact measurements, the glass, everything, and we need to take it downstairs and create in the lobby a museum piece of the room so that the next time you're in Memphis, you can come in and you can see where the great Dewey Phillips performed Red Hot and Blue and first had a rock and roll conversation with Elvis Presley that night on July 8th, 1954. Please help us in this cause. City of Memphis thanks you.
Oh, taking the blues with piano red. Let's wake up. Well, got a telegram here from Truman. Want to play Goodbye and So Long.
Let's dig that boogie.
You get paid to have sex with beautiful women.
You're not pregnant, are you?
You're terminated.
Here's how we gonna do this.
I want the divorce.
I'm not gonna fire you, little lady.
Last night, everything was fine.
No, everything has not been fine.
Last night.
All right, that was a string of trailers there. You saw Sam Bear's I Filmed Your Death. You saw Muck Sticky's Muscadine Wine, and hopefully we'll have Muck Sticky here in the lodge next weekend. Excuse me, next week as our guest. We also saw the trailer for Happy Hour, which I'll be working on a little bit this summer, and we watched the trailer for Slaughterhouse-Five again. Also in there, you saw a campaign video put together by Mike McCarthy. This is a very important campaign. This is to save the WHBQ studios that basically are where Elvis debuted with
That's All Right, Mama.
That's All Right, Little Mama. I
And
don't know
it
why I
was,
cannot remember this.
With Dewey Phillips the first rock and roll interview ever on air was held there between Dewey Phillips and Elvis. So.
Okay, so Mike has started this campaign basically to raise money to preserve that place and the equipment in it as a historical shrine, essentially, that will be put on display at the front entrance of the new facility once it's built in this location. He has, last I knew, only raised 3% of his goal. I do not know the final goal amount, but this is a piece of Memphis history. This is a piece of music history. This is a piece of art history. All of us need to help get this supported. We need to preserve that location. I mean, this is a part of this city's identity. And the fact that the city would have allowed this to occur without preserving it, in my mind, is sort of a travesty. So please, check out the campaign, contribute if you can. If you can't contribute money, contribute voice. Tell everybody you know about this campaign and help bring more awareness to it so that someone out there with the money can contribute. Do what we can to preserve the WHBQ studios for Memphis and for future generations to really be connected to.
I'm sure if every Elvis fan out there gave $5.
If every Elvis fan out there gave $5, we could facelift Memphis.
Yeah, right.
Whitehaven wouldn't, you know, where the mansion is, wouldn't look so post-apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic itself.
Well, you know, EPE Enterprises, and after all that have taken over, I've noticed a much higher climb over the past 5 years and things like that have happened out there.
It's getting better.
Of course, you go like every year, don't you?
To the Candlelight Vigil.
To the vigil, yeah.
Yes, I do.
So,
well, again, this is a very important campaign, and it's a very necessary thing that we preserve this part of Memphis and music history. So, do what you can and spread the word and get others to do what they can as well. Bringing it back to Slaughterhouse-Five and Christian and Christopher. Obviously, you are in post-production.
Yes.
Any idea when that will be finished? Will we be seeing a longer form trailer at any point?
I don't know that we could put out a longer trailer because the movie's so short and we don't really want to give anything away.
Smart.
So I don't see that happening. But right now we're doing all the sound design. We got a guy.
You and
well, no,
Leo are
a guy
doing all
named
the sound.
A guy named Leo Goff, who is a local engineer and producer. He works on a lot of rap albums for like Yo Gotti. He does all of his all of his albums. He's doing all the sound design,
score
and Foley and all that stuff. And so that's what's going on
What
right
was his
now.
name again?
Leo Goff.
Again, another favor called in.
Yeah, I've known him since high school. Him and I were in studio recording class together at Kingsbury Votech, and
I also went to Kingsbury Votech, and I was in the commercial arts while they were doing the studio recording there.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so that's where we're at now. As far as a finish date, it's hard to say, you know.
Now we talked a little bit about, are you going to go the festival route and all that, or my question would have been, are you going to have a premiere of your own? One of the things we did with Cold Blooded and The Bag, much like we're doing in Tupelo, is we had our own premiere, which allowed the cast and the crew to kind of have that focus, whereas a festival, you're just part of something happening. And I wanted people to really feel something special, especially that was the first production Jamie put out as my partner. I really wanted him to feel what this can be more than what a festival would give. Have you thought about doing something like that, or will you do just a private screening?
As much as like a premiere would be nice somewhere, I would like to do something where we actually do a screening, therefore you can preserve a premiere for a festival or something like that somewhere. But if you do like a private invite screening, personally, I'd really like to do something, say, like here.
Kind of like run it.
Just where like people that have been involved in the project, you can all come, sit, and make it more of a
more of a cast and crew kind of thing to show everybody everything.
And this is an ideal location for that.
It is.
Because,
it is.
You know,
and of course, Matt's always receptive to anything going on here.
Absolutely.
So what is next for you guys, either as partners or individuals?
As far as being partners goes, I mean, he's talking about moving to New Orleans, so I'm going to be single soon.
Oh.
That'll be nice.
But hopefully going to New Orleans, ultimately we have this feature-length film that I put together, but it's basically based on our lives growing up and a lot of the crazy things that happened to us.
Actually, you couldn't make this up if you had to.
Right.
I know
And lots of people say they have reality, stories and things like that, but like literally, for us and the way we grew up and everything we've witnessed through lives, it's been something very interesting.
Okay.
Of course, you guys, you played the trailer for the Explorers Club promo scene, which happened in my living room.
Right.
And
That's
that's 100%.
We'll probably pick that up and run it again.
That's
here on this show.
100% true story.
So
he had explained that.
Yeah, so we've got the the script is there. We've shot the promo scene. I would love to get that project done. But for the last several years, I've talked to different people in Memphis, and you know how you guys know how people are in this business. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, I can get that done, man. I know where all this money is. Talk to me,
But on that one, it's real money. I mean, we need money to make that happen.
We can definitely relate to that.
And when I say real money, I mean real money. Because we're not gonna fold on not getting this done correctly.
We're gonna have to cut the show short tonight because we're having some power issues. But I want to give a chance, anybody out there with money, give us your contact information where people can find you, find information about you, and things like that. And then we'll do a quick cutout and show the trailer again.
I mean, the easiest thing would be to look me up on Facebook, Christian Walker, or look up our film page, Slaughterhouse Fi, on Facebook.
And you can contact both of us through that site.
Yeah, that would be the easiest thing. For
and again, that's Slaughterhouse Fi. That's the Greek letter PHI. In case anybody didn't see that on the trailer.
Little play off of.
And Christopher Woodsy Smith on Facebook
and
as
of
well.
course I donate my time here at Black Lodge Video as much as I can, so I'm always here.
Well, Black Lodge is always a place where you never know who you're going to run into.
That is true.
I've ran into you here a number of times, ran into you here once or twice. I've run into McCarthy. Eric Huber just walked through here a little while ago.
Corey Parker was
Corey
here
Parker
earlier.
has come in and out, so it's you never know who you'll run into at Lodge, and that's one of the reasons that all of us as filmmakers, in addition to the education it provides, the networking and just the ability to run into the other filmmakers in your city. We would like to apologize. We do have to cut the show short today because of some power issues that we're having with our computer system. Hopefully next week we'll have Muck Sticky on the show. He'll be talking about some of his music, a future album coming from him soon, as well as the Muscadine Wine movie that he just put out. After that, we're hoping Robert Coletta will join us, and we'll talk to him about the MRC and the things they're doing for the city. Then we're going to be taking the 2 weeks off for the Passover and Easter holidays. We'll be taking some time off to try and focus on some of the work we're trying to do. But join us again April 7th when we come back with the relaunch, and hopefully we'll have some special guests for you then. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to go out of here. We're going to take another look at the Slaughterhouse Fi trailer, and we're going to end the show with Jason Freeman's music video, Magic in My House by Alan Spearman. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Everything was fine.
No, everything has not been fine.